Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalam, wassalam, ala rasulillah. Welcome to We Are All Okay Wednesday, where we're up to the letter Z. Z is for zany. When chaotic energy seeks grounding and transformation begins with intention. So, zany can feel unfocused. When our energy is scattered and unpredictable, we may act out, distract ourselves, or avoid what really matters. I'm an expert at this. Underneath the chaos is a calling. What looks like too much is often misplaced passion, waiting to be directed with purpose. From zany to zealous, when we realign with meaning and surrender to Allah, our wild energy becomes focused, driven, and full of barakah. Alhamdulillah. And I wish I had a magic switch for this because honestly, with an ADHD brain, this is like what it's like. It's from zany to zealous, and there only seems to be those two levels and nothing in the middle at times. SubhanAllah. However, it is very interesting because um I was all over the place, but the last 2 days I had a really big task to do, and I had to be very intentional and make some very important decisions in order to facilitate what was needed to actually get the job done. And so it is actually a really good example. So when we say zany, like I was looking for words that start with the letter Z that we could talk to. And um, zany, I guess, really means, you know, acting out crazy, which I'm very good at, by the way, especially with kids. Um, but what we're talking about is more like the crazy energy when you're all over the place, when it's really hard to get yourself grounded, settle down, and get on with the task that you need to do. And this was the problem I was having over the weekend. So on Saturday, um, a chapter for a book that I've been invited to write. No, I haven't been invited to write the book, just the chapter. So a chapter in a book that I was invited to write was due on Saturday. And I had been procrastinating and procrastinating because this was more of an academic book. Like I'm really good at casual writing. I enjoy writing from the heart, but when I have to write intellectually, I really struggle. And I have to say, it was what I would call almost an intellectually painful process getting this chapter done. But what happened was I left it till the end. And so I really had Saturday to finish it. And guess what happened? Life happened, and a really big thing happened in the family. And there was absolutely no way I was going to be writing it. And of course, I'm very ungrounded. I'm all over the place because this big thing was quite serious. There was a lot to deal with. And and so the first thing I did was write to the person I was meant to send the chapter to, and I said, "I'm apologies, life's happened. I'm not going to get it to you today, but I will endeavor to get it to you in the next few days." And they wrote back and said, "That's fine." So Sunday came, and I had an all-day training that I was meant to be helping facilitate, not actually doing the training, but just organizing, making sure everything happened right. So the first decision I had to make was I really can't afford a whole day training, not just because of this outstanding thing, but because of I still had to resolve what happened on the Saturday. And so I started making good decisions. I started aligning my intentions with I have to do what's needed in the moment, not what I think I should do because of all of these commitments. So Sunday wasn't about working on the book at all. It was about sorting out the issue that rose on Saturday. And Monday is always my work day where I have no meetings and I have clear work. So I thought that's good. I'm going to focus on the book chapter Monday. But when I got into it, with the sort of the way my brain works is I can't sit down and just do that level of intellectual work for a full day. And so I realized I needed to free my mind up to not have to think about all the things I was going to need to do and how I probably wouldn't get it finished. And so I made an executive decision partway through Monday to clear all my calendar on Tuesday as well. So I reached out and I got people to fill in for all the things that I had on Tuesday, except for Tuesday night. I finished it in time to do what I had on Tuesday night because it's Wednesday morning here, right? And by simply being intentional and freeing the pathway and removing all the obstacles, I was able to set into a rhythm, like a natural rhythm, and get the job done. It wasn't easy. It was a very challenging task. In the end, it was 7,400 words. It was big. It was fairly big, alhamdulillah. And I think it came together quite well, alhamdulillah. I still have to do a last proofread today before I hand it through, just to be sure it all makes actual sense. Um, but I just started tackling things one step at a time. And so that crazy, crazy kind of all over the place thinking can settle down, and you can become quite grounded when you can bring yourself down to just one thing. Because what really tends to be the unfocus is all the thinking around all of the different things that you've got on that you need to deal with. And so actually you end up getting nothing done, which I had done a lot of that last week, which was why I ended up in this predicament. So that zany feeling is like an unfocused feeling where it feels like, your energy is all over the place and scattered and unpredictable, and we end up, distracting yourself and avoiding what really matters. And I did a lot of that. But there was a calling underneath in the fact that writing this chapter is important because it's really about uh, putting our work or our understanding of what we have here at Back to the Fitra into the academic space in an academic way, which I don't normally do because that's just not my style. It's just not how I function. And so underneath all of that chaotic thinking, there was a real calling, there was a real intention. It was an invitation that I felt really humbled and so we're grateful for the opportunity to be a part of an academic book that's being published by, I think it's Macmillan Publishing House, which is quite a significant publishing house. So it is an amazing opportunity. And it took being intentional to get focused and to be able to get myself into the space of being grounded and get the job done. And then I did become zealous, but not zealous in a way where I neglected myself. So I paced myself. I gave myself enough space that I didn't have the opportunity to fall back into that chaotic thinking because I'm worrying about not getting it done because I don't have enough time. And it just came from a knowing that, yeah, if I give myself an extra day, I will get it done and I'll be able to work my way through it. And so I did realign with the meaning. I surrendered to Allah that it will be what it will be. And that wild energy did become focused, driven, and full of barakah in that I think what came together, inshallah, will be good. I know they're going to come back and tell me I need more references to back many of my statements, which is fine because it's meant to be the first draft anyway. I know that it was meant to be 6,000 words and it ended up 7,400 words. So they're probably going to tell me there's places where I need to trim it down, and that's fine. But the point is, I now have a chapter that goes from A to Z on the topic that I was given to write about. And it all came down to being intentional and making the decisions I needed to make in order to give myself the space to be grounded and not to flitter around. Now, does that mean today I'm going to get lots done? I'm actually giving myself permission today to go with the flow and get done what I can get done and not to stress over things that I can't get done. And if I happen to go back to that zany, scattered energy today because I was so focused for the last 2 days, that's quite okay. So there's another side to it, which is being okay with the fact that sometimes our thinking will be scattered. Sometimes we will be all over the place and not expect ourselves to always be in that focused, what we think we should be in terms of productive, because there are multiple ways of being productive and multiple things that can benefit even from our scatty energy, even from our scatty thinking. It might not be what we think we should be doing. It might be a whole bunch of other things. But as long as, we're focused on making what we do for the sake of Allah and in a manner that's pleasing to Allah, it all becomes an act of worship. And so it is all productive in what is truly productive in an Islamic sense, which is anything that's going to earn reward for us on the day of judgment, inshallah. And so there's a second level to this, which is being okay in the zany, scattered thinking, aligning it with still pleasing Allah so that you're still earning reward for the sake of Allah, just in a scattered way, just in a different way. You might just do a bit here, a bit there, and a bit everywhere. And you might not finish anything, but you still did things that earn reward, because that's really all that matters in this life, isn't it? We get so focused on being outcome driven that we lose track of the fact that it's actually not the outcome, because that's in Allah's hands anyway. It's the journey. It's the every moment. And sometimes we're going to have scatty energy and so zany energy, and sometimes we're going to be so focused and have zealous energy, and that's okay. But if we have to go from zany to zealous because there is a need for us to get focused and grounded when we're in that state, then there is also a way to do that, not in a harsh and difficult way, because the more we try to push ourselves, the more we will resist and the more we'll stay in the crazy thinking. It's more about freeing up the space so that you can relax into the process. And it really made so much difference over these last couple of days, alhamdulillah. So there's my zany to zealous. I went from zany to zealous and I'm back to zany again, alhamdulillah. And I'm okay with zany today. It doesn't matter. I'm still able to come here and have a chat with you and share something with you. And I've already spent an hour with the Peaceful Heart session, and I was able to bring my mind together for that. And in between times, I'll do whatever. In fact, it is a scatty day. So in between that session and this session, which was about an hour and a half, I moved my fridge. That's a really logical thing to do, isn't it? I was waiting for my son to get ready for school so I could drive him. So I decided I'd move my fridge because I've been thinking about doing it for ages. So I thought, why not? I'll move the fridge. So I did. So that's the kind of, when you're in that energy, you can still be productive. You can still do things. It's just you don't take on the big things unless you have to. It was only a little fridge, so it wasn't a big fridge. So I didn't take on the big things. It was one of those little bar fridges. Alhamdulillah. Any questions around that? Who here is just in the chat? Who here struggles sometimes with that zany, scattered, all over the place energy? I spend a lot of time in it. Who here? Just in the chat, let me know who struggles with that. No one? Am I the only one? I'm preaching to the converted then. I don't see anyone going me in the chat. I've got one me. Yes, yes. Okay, good. Alhamdulillah, I'm not alone here. Alhamdulillah. Yes, when you have little kids around, that can also lead to scatty brain because you never get to finish any thoughts. I remember when all my kids were little, being so frustrated because it was like I would never finish a thought. Every thought I was having would get interrupted. SubhanAllah. Alhamdulillah. So you all get it. Did you find it helpful what I shared about giving yourself space to become grounded, to give yourself space to land and find, that grounding that you need to get something done, even though you're in that space of scattiness. Mm. Yeah, we see that. That's great that you shared that. The struggle is you feel like you're not doing enough. It's because it doesn't look like it's anything significant that you've done in those scatty times that leads to believing that you haven't done enough. But if you actually were to collate a list of all the little scatty things that you did, you would discover you've done a lot. But because there's nothing like this big accolade or a big reward because yes, you managed to get the dishes done and you managed to clean the lounge room and you managed to, like I did, move the fridge and keep the kids out of mischief and feed them and keep them clean and change them, and all of these things don't seem to add up to being productive, but in fact they all are part of being productive when you've got little kids. So, yeah, it might look like you're not doing enough because it doesn't look according to some kind of expectation you have of how it should look. For instance, you could be cleaning, looking after kids the whole day, and yet at the end of the day, the house still looks like chaos. That didn't mean you didn't do anything. It just means that had you done nothing, it would have been look even worse, right? But if we look for the outcome in that, well, the house should be immaculate, I should have this clean and tidy house, then of course we're going to feel disappointed in ourselves. We're going to feel like we didn't achieve anything, but that's not true. Everyone's still alive, everyone's fed, clean, healthy, and they're all right. That's an achievement. That's right. One job done is better than none. I like that. It rhymes too. Even better when it rhymes, right? Once we learn to be kinder to ourselves, we learn it's okay to take a step back and gather our thoughts without judgment. And maybe that's all it takes to come out of that scatty energy into grounded energy. Because sometimes when you take a step back, you realize, hang on a minute, the reason I can't get grounded and settled into something is because I'm thinking the next thing I have to do is this. There's something that's I'm resisting in doing that. And all these other things are in the queue waiting to be done. And so I'm feeling like a failure because I'm not getting on with the first task, right? And you take a step back and you go, well, hang on a minute. That doesn't even need to be the first task. I could do something else. And then when you start doing something else, everything starts to flow. And the whole reason for the scatty thinking was that you were focusing on the wrong thing, or the thing that you're having issue with, the resistance to. And who knows what the resistance is? The resistance could be that you're not meant to be doing it. The resistance could be that you're not meant to be doing it yet. The resistance could be like with this chapter of the book that I was sharing with you, that it's the sort of thing that you don't enjoy doing and it's hard. Like that was hard for me. It's not the way I write. And I had to go into trying to do things in a way that is not naturally how I operate. So, yeah, be kind to yourself. So tell me in the chat, what did you find helpful about this? If you found something helpful, share with me what you found helpful. What's one point that you're taking away from this that's helpful? By the way, I tried to print out my chapter, but the printer's not working. It's on an A4 page at normal 12-point font. It's 17 pages. I'm so impressed. 17 I wrote 17 pages. Alhamdulillah, I'm so chuffed. See how exciting it is when you push yourself through something that's not easy. It just gives you a sense of Alhamdulillah, look what I can do when I put my mind to it. Alhamdulillah. What I found helpful in this whole series is learning new vocab and words that I never heard of in my life, although I've been studying and working in English most of my life. Yes, well, I had to be a bit creative sometimes to find something that for the letters, because if you're going to do the A to Z, you have to have every letter, right? How to manage scattered thoughts that make me so overwhelmed. Well, that is what's making you overwhelmed, is the scattered thinking. So when you stop worrying about the scattered thinking and stop worrying about all the things you have to do, and then just pause and take that step back and go, okay, what is it I need to work on right now? Or what is it I feel called to work on right now, rather than what I should be working on, which I might be resisting, and then just focusing on that one thing that you feel pulled to do. It's like you open up the way for everything to start to float again. It's a flow again. It's a bit like, when water has been dammed up, like baby beavers, how they dam up the water and by putting all the sticks and everything to make a dam of the water. It's almost like if you pick the right stick to pull out of that, the water starts to trickle through and eventually it washes away the whole blockage. So by picking the one thing that you feel inclined towards, then it's like taking that stick that opens up the way for the water to start to trickle through, that then eventually ends up washing the blockage fully away, if that makes sense. So it's not about managing the scattered thinking. It's about just taking a breath, taking a step back from it all and going, okay, what do I want to do right now? And go with that. It might not be what you think you should do, and that's exactly why you go with what you are inclined to do, because it's probably that word should in there that's part of the resistance and the challenge that's leaving you in overwhelm. Like, I should be doing the dishes, but I really feel like going for a walk outside. But I really can't do that until I do the dishes because I should do the dishes. Well, actually, if you feel inclined to walk outside, maybe that's what's really what you need right now. Maybe that's what Allah's calling you towards. And the dishes, they're not going to go away. They'll still be there when you get back. That was just a simple example there. I think for me, it will be the fact that, hang on a minute, my thoughts of process is relatable. Like you said, when everything is scattered and can't ground myself. Yeah, it's nice to know you're not the only one, isn't it? Most of the time, it would be just not to do anything and leave it all. Exactly. And that's what overwhelm is like. It's like a paralysis. Yeah, got it out. Paralysis, executive paralysis. You just can't do anything. So that's it. Can't do what I'm meant to be doing, so that's it. Not going to do anything. It's very counterproductive. Alhamdulillah, yeah. The reminder that there's always calm after the storm and we're okay as long as we're viewing the world through the lens of gratitude. I've only been attending for a few weeks, but subhanAllah, each time you spoke directly to my heart, alhamdulillah, I'm glad. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Yes. So I don't know what we'll do next week because we've run out of letters. It's been a project that started a while ago and I got up to, I don't know, the middle of the alphabet and then we had a break for a while. And the reason I stopped was because I got overwhelmed with it because I was doing it in a way where I was doing all these fancy slides and fancy videos and making it all fancy, and it was taking me forever. And then I got busy and then it was too hard to keep up with it and I made it too hard for myself. And so I took a break from it. And then I thought, that's it, I'm coming back, but I'm just going to come and speak. Stuff the slides, just come and speak. And we've had a lovely time finishing off the alphabet. But that's an example. That's an example that, getting overwhelmed and scattered around it, just taking a step back and then realizing there's another way forward. So, got any suggestions? What should we do moving forward? I love the simplicity of it too. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair, sis. The
I
thing is,
guess,
yeah, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Abdul Bari.
yeah, I guess the only question that I had was, um, like, it's very easy, as you said, to go to what is you're inclined with, but sometimes, like, you really have to do something and you don't really feel like doing it. Like in your case, when you spoke about the chapter, you just asked for extension. But my question is like, let's say if you don't have the extension and you really have to do it, what would you kind of advise to do?
So, you know what I've come to realize? I've come to realize that it's not the end of the world if we miss a deadline.
Mm.
We've been mentally trained to get so stressed out about deadlines. So that, for instance, there's been deadlines for things like applying for grants, for instance, and I hate doing that. Or putting in an abstract for a conference, or all of these things that have unflexible deadlines, meaning if you miss it, you miss it. That's it. And life's happened, and I've had to deal with things, or I just haven't had the wisdom land with me on what to put together. And I've just thought, you know what? It wasn't meant to be. I wasn't meant to do it. It's an acceptance, not an acceptance from a place of laziness or complacency. It's an acceptance of it really wasn't possible, therefore it wasn't meant to be. So if you miss out on something because you missed a deadline, it's because it wasn't meant for you.
Masha Mashallah, that's very good. It's actually okay to miss things, as you said, and not do them.
Yes.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Because we get
Uh,
so caught up in this world that we've grown up in that has given us deadlines. The only deadlines that we're not meant to miss is our prayer times. Um, I can't think of anything else. What else is there? The only thing that the only thing that has an absolute time on it is prayer, isn't it? Is there anything else that's prescribed to us that has a specific time that we can't miss?
well, obviously, Hajj, you cannot do like certain worships on different days and stuff like that. So it has to be on those days.
But you see, Hajj is only compulsory to those who have the
They
means. And
can.
if you're on Hajj, of course you're going to do it according to the timeline. Um, so I'm talking about just in a daily sense. The
Mm,
only thing that really we have a deadline for is one thing, isn't it? It's the prayer.
right.
Do we spend enough time making sure that we meet that deadline? Or
Yeah.
so focused on these other human created deadlines that we get distracted from our prayer? That's a good
Yeah.
one to think about. We have to go because there's a session on right now, I think. And I just realized what the time is. Jazakallah khair for sharing your takeaways and for being here. If you've got any suggestions for what we can do on We Are OK Wednesday moving forward, please let me know. You can send me a message through school or something, and I will take it into consideration, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.